To me, credit card roadmaps are the foundation of success in the credit card game. Sure, you can go wild applying for whatever card catches your eye, but trust me, without a plan, things can get ugly quick. That's exactly why I create videos like this, to help you design a credit card roadmap that maximizes your rewards, keeps you out of trouble, and helps you get automatically approved for every credit card you apply for, just like I've done with my 16 card applications at this point. Remember that credit card setups are highly personal, so it's crucial to build out a roadmap that fits your unique goals and situation rather than just trying to copy someone else's like mine. Instead of trying to duplicate what I do, from this video, I'd rather you take away the foundational ways in which I think about the credit card game, since that's how I feel like you can really grow from watching my content. With that being said, let's dive in. For those of you familiar with the channel, you'll know that I have a free credit card management spreadsheet that I leave in the descriptions of all of my road mapping videos. And this is the light version of the spreadsheet that I make for the people that book one-on-one calls with me, but it has the bones of a powerful roadmap and card manager, so I hope it helps you out. And before we get into the nitty-gritty, I'm going to go ahead and just walk y'all through the spreadsheet at a high level, and then we'll focus in on the section that matters the most for this video. So of course, at the top of my spreadsheet, I have a section tracking my 524 status. For those that haven't heard of it before, the Chase 524 rule basically just states that if you've been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards from any lender in the past 24 months, you will automatically be denied for your next Chase credit card application. And as somebody that really likes to work through all of the Chase credit card welcome offers and get them multiple times on the same cards or continue adding cards from their massive arsenal, this rule is of utmost importance to me, even though I already have 16 credit cards. So the way that this section works is that I have my card names listed here on the left, the date that I opened them right next door, and then the days and months until my cards hit the 2-year mark, since that's when they'll fall off of my 524 status, which you can see reflected in this next card drop date. Any of these cells that have NA in them is because those are business credit cards, so they don't report to your 524 count. But all of these cells in red here are obviously the cards that are still adding to that count. And with all of this data input, my 524 status is automatically calculated using this formula. And I guess the only other small thing to note here is that my next card drop dates are all assigned to the first day of the following month that my card technically drops off of my 524 count. That way I give Chase enough time in their systems to update and show that that card is indeed more than 2 years old. It's just a better safe than sorry kind of measure that I take. Underneath that, we have a section dedicated to welcome bonuses. So very similar first 2 columns here to the section above, actually the exact same, showing the card names and the date that I opened them. And then next to that, we have the welcome offer that I was approved for with each card. And that gives me a total here at the bottom that I'm able to track over time. And as you can see, I'm sitting at over 1.1 million credit card points earned in the last 3 years. And this is how I'm able to cover all of my hotels and flights for the past few years. It's really all thanks to these welcome offers. Aside from the actual bonus totals, I have the type of points that I'm earning in, because that just helps me keep track of obviously the ecosystems that I'm dedicating time towards. And then I have the spend required for each bonus, the days that you have to actually hit the minimum spending requirement, and then a calculated return on spend for each of these card offers. And as you can see, I mean, the lowest one in this entire list is 10% with the Amex Blue Business Plus. But other than that, I'm averaging at least like 30% or so, probably even more than that, for all of these $61,000 that I've put towards these card offers in the past 3 or so years. Underneath that, we're going to have the cards on radar section, and this is the part of the spreadsheet that we're going to focus the most amount of time on, so I'm not going to even touch on it yet. So scrolling down a bit more, we have the Amex 5 credit card limit. This can be replaced by any other credit card lender rules that you want to keep track of. For me, I leave the Amex 5 credit card limit in here because I do plan on working through a lot of their welcome offers over time. And as you can see, I feel like the Hilton credit cards are ones that I will add at some point because of the just sheer amount of points you can earn by going through like the Hilton carousel. And since Amex only allows you to get anywhere from like 4 to 6 credit card products, meaning cards with credit limits, not their charge cards, I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of that. And that's exactly what this section is for. But again, it doesn't have to be the Amex 5 credit card limit that you track. That's just what I do. And then finally, on the bottom here, we have my expected welcome bonus reward totals for 2025, which of course is going to come into play once we get into the cards on my radar section up above. On the spreadsheet that I build for the folks that book a call with me, there's also sections for the future plans for each one of your current credit cards, the point valuations using each redemption style from every lender that you have cards from, an annual fee manager or referral tracker, and new sections being added with the more calls that I do over time. But I will be skipping over those here for just the sake of time. And now that you have a base understanding of where I'm currently sitting, let's scroll back on up to that cards on radar section and get into the roadmap itself. What I'm going to do here is reveal each one of these cards one by one to, of course, add a little suspense. I like to have some fun here. Hopefully that's all right with you. But throughout the rest of this video, I want to explain exactly why I'm going for each of the cards that I do and why the timing of each one of those applications is so important. So let's go ahead and kick it off with card number 1, which is the Southwest Priority Card. Yes, I know this card is technically being applied for in 2024, but it's the very end of 2024, so I think it can count towards my 2025 credit card roadmap. And matter of fact, the exact date that I plan on applying is December 20th of this year, which is pretty close to the time that I'm uploading this video, so wish me luck there. For those that have been watching the channel recently, you'll know that this credit card is on my roadmap for one main reason, and that is that alongside the Southwest Performance Business Card that I was fortunately approved for in October, the Southwest Priority Card will help me unlock the Southwest Companion Pass for 2 full years. The Southwest Companion Pass is one, if not the best deals in all of air travel today, and what it is basically a buy one, get one free pass for every Southwest flight that you take with a dedicated companion, and the flight that you buy can actually be bought with points, so effectively you just double the value of all of your Southwest points with the Companion Pass. In order to get it for myself, I'm working towards the 130,000 Southwest qualifying points in a calendar year, and to get those points, I'm using the Southwest Performance Business Welcome Offer and the Southwest Priority Welcome Offer. The way that the Companion Pass works is that you earn it for the rest of the year that you hit the requirements in, as well as the full following year. So of course, the most optimal approach is going to be hitting that requirement at the very start of a calendar year. That way you extend your Companion Pass for 2 full years rather than hitting it in like December and only getting the Companion Pass for really 1 full year at that point. Now, back to the spreadsheet, you may think that December 20th is kind of a weird date to put on my roadmap, because usually I'll put like the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month, and that's what you're going to see for the rest of the cards in this video. But I selected that date very intentionally. At the time of me recording, this card has an elevated welcome offer of 40,000 points plus $400 worth of statement credits for spending $3,000 in the first 4 months of having it. And while that offer gives you more total value than the base 50,000 point offer does, there's a catch. The 50,000 point offer only requires $1,000 worth of spend, while this elevated offer requires $3,000 worth of spend. And as somebody that's trying to get the Companion Pass for as cheap as possible, it actually makes more sense for me to wait a little bit longer until that elevated offer expires, which is set to do so on December 16th. That way I can go for the 50,000 point offer, get a higher return on spend for my $1,000 worth of spend, and get the Companion Pass even quicker. If I was just looking to get this card with the highest total value possible, sure, I might go for this elevated offer. But again, that's just not what my goals are right now. I really only want these cards for the main purpose of getting me the Companion Pass. So whatever offers help me do that the quickest is what I'm going to go with. Of course, that bonus is reflected here in the cards on radar section. And the only other thing to call out here is that this card will push me back up to 524 with Chase, but that is only until March of 2025. So I'm completely okay with this addition to my 524 count, since I'll be working on this card's welcome offer plus the Southwest Performance Business at the beginning parts of the year as is. Wow, okay, I actually covered that card in much more detail than initially anticipated. And don't worry, the future cards won't take quite as long. But I actually think that this just reflected exactly what I said in the beginning of the video, because while this specific credit card may not interest you, understanding when and why I'm applying for it shows you how intentional I am with each card that is added to my credit card roadmap, and I hope that that inspires you to take the time to do the same. The next card I plan to go for in 2025 is going to be the Amex Business Platinum for my tax payments. My expected application date for this card is going to be March 15th of 2025, but this isn't as meticulously chosen as that first card was. All I really want to do with this one is add it about 3 months after my last card application, which is the cadence that I generally go for in spacing out all of my credit card applications. And other than that, I just want to make sure that I get this card in the mail in time to make those tax payments. So the middle to end of March is a perfect time for this card to come up. As for the offer that I hope to get on it, it would be awesome to lock in the 250,000 point welcome offer for spending $15,000 in the first 3 months of having it. But there's really no telling if that offer will be around at the time that I go to apply. I will say that this is the main card that I get those mailer offers for. So while I am a little bit worried about getting approved for it since I canceled my personal Amex Gold this past year, I feel like I'm probably set just on that fact alone. If I'm not able to get that 250,000 point offer, that's really not the end of the world. I'll just go for the highest offer that I can find through my card match link, through incognito mode, or through referral links. And while $15,000 worth of spend is quite a lot, I know this card usually will come out with a $20,000 minimum spending requirement. That's something I really hope I don't have to spend towards, but honestly, I don't know what my tax burden is going to be this year, and that might be easier to hit than initially anticipated. So we'll just see what welcome offer I'm able to lock in when the time comes. Last year, I implemented this exact same strategy of using my tax payments for a really high minimum spending requirement card in the Amex Business Gold, and I got approved for that one, no problem. The spend counted towards the welcome offer requirement, no problem. So really all I'm hoping to do here is copy and paste that exact same strategy with the Business Platinum instead, since my tax burden should be higher than last year with my increased income. Speaking of the Amex Business Gold here, I actually do plan on canceling this card after I get approved for the Amex Business Platinum. And I definitely want to cancel it after the fact, because if I was to cancel it before, then I have a much lower odds of getting approved for the Business Platinum. And the biggest reason for that is because the Amex Business Gold already has a $375 annual fee on it. And the Business Platinum has a $695 annual fee on it. So I don't really want to overlap those two cards, especially because I'm not expecting to get positive value from the Business Gold and the Business Platinum. So they're more just like welcome offer hunting cards. Obviously, the main reason I care to apply for this card is because of its massive welcome offer opportunity. And it's one that I can only hit during tax season. So that's exactly why it's here. But other than that, this card will still serve a purpose in allowing me to test out the Amex Platinum card since I don't have the personal version yet. And you may be thinking that the Business Platinum is less valuable because the credits are a bit different. But in reality, I think I'll actually get more value from the business card than I would the personal. So I'm excited to apply for it, hopefully get approved, and then test out all of its features like the Amex Lounge Collection, specifically the Centurion Lounges, as well as with this card, which the personal card doesn't have this, the 35% points rebate for booking flights with Amex. Yes, that perk is real, and I actually think it's very valuable because it brings your base redemption rate up to 1.53 cents per point for any first or business class ticket or any fare class ticket with your selected qualifying airline through American Express Travel. I'm really hoping that this will lighten up my need for Chase Ultimate Reward points like I talked about in my optimal travel credit card video that I made recently. But other than that, I should mention that applying for this card in March is really good timing because that is, again, whenever I'm going to drop back to 424. And since this is a business credit card, it does not add to my 524 count. And matter of fact, since it's an Amex credit card and I'm an existing Amex customer, I won't even get a hard pull for this credit card account, which is just perfect. As y'all know, I'm not really a big fan of Amex's high annual fee charge cards, but I am going to go into this one with an open mind and just see what kind of value I can get from it. I do think that I might actually surprise myself here, but of course, I'll make future videos on this card for sure. After the Amex Business Platinum is where things get a little bit wonky. And in all honesty, by the time that I finish the minimum spending requirements on the two cards that I already have on my roadmap, the credit card space could look very different because it will be mid 2025. But assuming everything is the exact same as it is now, this is the route that I plan to go. I want to dedicate the second half of 2025 to my hotel credit card strategy. And the first on that hotel credit card list will be the World of Hyatt Business Card. This is a card that I've talked about pretty negatively over time, but just like the high annual fee Amex cards, that does not mean that I won't be applying for it to at least just lock in the welcome offer on it. Overall, this card offers pretty negligible benefits at its $199 annual fee, but the main ones I'll benefit from is the automatic Discover status for you and up to 5 employees, as well as the elevated Hyatt earning category and the $100 worth of annual Hyatt statement credits. But unfortunately, this card does not give you any kind of free night certificate like the personal World of Hyatt card does. But then again, I really only plan on keeping this card for a year, so I'm okay with it not having that benefit, I guess. Just like normal, I plan on going for this card 3 months after my last one, specifically on June 15th of 2025. And if possible, of course, I would love to get this card with an elevated welcome offer on it. But as we saw this year, the elevated offer is actually not very beneficial at all. Yes, you could get a total of 75,000 points with the offer we saw, but you have to spend $12,000 to actually get that full amount of points. So similar to the Southwest Priority card here, I would actually be more happy going with the base offer of 60,000 World of Hyatt points for spending $5,000 in the first 90 days of having it. Because again, I just don't have to spend as much towards that offer. So I could put the rest of that $7,000 worth of spend towards at least one or maybe even two new card offers and get so much more value than an extra 15,000 Hyatt points. The reason that the timing of this card is very important is because I really needed to add another business credit card before I go for another personal one. Because as you can see, even though I dropped back under 524 in March, I don't drop any further under until October of 2025, which 3 months after applying for this card will be pretty dang close to that. But if I would have gone for a personal card here instead, then I would have been locked out of the ability to get any Chase card welcome offers. And that of course does not fit into my personal strategy. Remember too that while Chase business credit cards, like the World of Hyatt Business, do not add to your Chase 524 count, they do abide by the rule. So that's why being at 424 is such a critical position. And that's where I usually just work through as many business card offers as possible and don't even touch my personal credit report unless it's like absolutely mandatory with some massive elevated offer out there. So with another business credit card under my belt, now I can start to have a little bit more fun with it as we'll be sitting close to being under 524 again. So I plan on going for the World of Hyatt Personal card at this point. This card being on here may surprise you for a couple of reasons. First, because I just applied for the business version, but second, because I've talked about how this card really isn't a mandatory addition for anybody to have, even if you are a Hyatt fan like me. And the reason that I've said that latter part is because this card really doesn't give you a ton. That being said though, of course, this card gives you easy positive value every year with its category 1 through 4 free night certificate and Discover status. And yes, if I follow this roadmap, I will already have Discover status through the business card. But like I mentioned, I do plan on canceling the business version after year 1. However, the personal version, I could see myself keeping open forever. Plus a category 4 free night is worth up to 18,000 points. And that's a value of $306 at a 1.7 cent per point valuation for Hyatt points. So while I still don't think that this card is one that you should rush into, it is one that I think can slot into a lot of people's setups once you're at a point where you don't need to continue building out your core credit card setup. And that's exactly where I find myself with 16 current credit cards, 19 at the time of applying for this one. I just really don't have a need for any more credit cards at this point, aside from building out like a benefits focused setup where, yes, I might have some high annual fees, but those types of cards will give me credits and benefits that are just more nice to haves rather than mandatories. As you'll notice, I do have the all-time high welcome offer recorded here on the spreadsheet, and that was the one that we just saw come up on the card for 5 free nights, which are technically worth up to 72,000 points for spending $4,000 in the first 90 days of having it. I have a very hard time thinking that that offer will still be around, but hey, one can dream. Of course, remember that this card will push me back up to 524, but I'll have another card fall off of that count on October 1st. So I really only have a couple of weeks of being locked at that number, and I'm completely fine with that. And that leads us perfectly into card number 5 on my roadmap, which is the Marriott Bonvoy Business card. Yep, we're back on that business card train because I will be at 424 at this point. That's that golden number where I don't want to push myself any higher. So by getting the Marriott Bonvoy Business in the middle of December, I'll be able to lock in a new welcome offer on a card to capture my spend for the next 6 months with this card offer in particular. However, just like the last couple of cards, this is subject to change depending on what other cards may be out on the market at that time or which ones have elevated offers on them. The Marriott Bonvoy Business does have an elevated offer of 5 free night certificates worth up to 50,000 points each for spending $8,000 in the first 6 months of having the card. That's the one that I hope to get, but again, who knows? And while this card doesn't seemingly offer much at face value, it's actually going to give me a good amount of perks for its $125 annual fee. Just like my Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card, it'll give me a free night certificate every year worth up to 35,000 points after my first card member anniversary. And that's worth about $294 at a 0.84 cent per point valuation for Marriott Bonvoy points. So obviously that makes up the annual fee on this card alone, but this card also gives you Marriott Gold Elite status, 15 qualifying nights towards status, and more. So it's honestly pretty easy to recoup value from. Also note that I'm only eligible for this welcome offer because it's been more than 24 months since I got the welcome offer on the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. And Frequent Miler has a really helpful table here to show you your welcome offer eligibility, which clears up all of the confusing rules that we have to abide by to keep Chase and Amex both happy, since they both offer different Marriott Bonvoy cards. One thing I haven't talked about yet is how I plan to manage all of these hard inquiries that I'll get for applying for this many cards in 1 year. And I figured today's a good day to cover that since y'all asked me about it so much. To give you some numbers here, at the end of 2025, I'd be sitting at a total of 3 hard inquiries in the last 12 months, despite adding 5 cards to my setup. And funny enough, even though I'll have 21 total cards at that point, the max hard inquiries I would have with all 3 bureaus would be 6 in the last 12 months. And that would be whenever I go for the Southwest Priority card, which is the first on my list. After that, my inquiry count is actually going to drop steadily over the year, despite me adding more cards. Remember too that whenever I say the max I'll have is 6 inquiries in 12 months, that does not mean that I'll actually see that 6 inquiries reflected on my credit reports with each of the bureaus. That would just be the max possible if every card pulled from the exact same bureau. We know that's not going to be the case though, hence why at this point in my journey, the highest inquiry count that I've had in the past 24 months, not just 12 months, is 4 with Experian. And how do I keep that number so low? Well, y'all just saw it here. I space out my applications by about 3 months each and sprinkle in Amex Business credit cards to my setup, which don't increase my hard inquiry count at all. This is a testament to why road mapping is so important and how it plays such a key role in helping me get approved for every credit card I've gone for. I'm sure my approval streak will end soon, but so far I'm 16 for 16, and these strategies are, I think, the biggest reason why. As a bonus for those that stuck around till now, let me give y'all a couple of honorable mentions that could very easily make an appearance this year. I'm going to zoom through these, so bear with me. But of course, I got to start by talking about the Ritz Carlton card, since a lot of y'all wonder why I haven't product changed to it yet. The main reasons though for that are the following. For one, I'm trying to keep my annual fees at a manageable level, especially with all of these cards I plan to add this year. And second, I want to avoid forcing myself to use the free night certificate on it just to get positive value from the card. I'm also going to get Marriott Bonvoy Gold status through the Business Platinum card, as well as the Marriott Marriott Business card if I get approved for both. So the only real advantage this card gives me is that 85,000 point free night, but with no plans to use it, that would just be a waste of a $450 annual fee card, in my opinion. If I do end up making a big trip happen though, and I want to stay at a Marriott property, I could see myself upgrading my Marriott Boundless card to the Ritz Carlton. And then another set of cards that I could see easily swapping in for one of the last 3 cards on my roadmap would of course be the Chase Ink cards. If you haven't been able to tell yet, on my roadmap, I'll always list the elevated offers that are available on each of the cards on the roadmap. And that's because at the time of applying, I want to see if the offer is competitive or not. And if I feel like I'm getting ripped off, I may just swap in a different card that has an elevated offer on it, which the Ink cards generally do. At least one of them will have anywhere from a 90,000 to 120,000 point offer on it. So yeah, one of these making an appearance is definitely not out of the question. This also extends to all other cards with elevated offers on them too, not just the Chase Ink cards. Like for example, if the IHG Business Platinum has a really high offer on it at the time that I want to go for the World of Hyatt Business card, I would likely just bring that one into the roadmap instead. And that's why it's kind of hard to say whether or not I'll actually go for the last 3 cards on the roadmap. But if not, that's completely okay. I have so much time to play the credit card game, so I'll continue to add cards as they make sense. And that's going to be particularly when they have elevated welcome offers on them, or specific to those hotel cards, is dependent on what hotels I'll be staying at the soonest and which ones I need more points with. Now, if you're somebody that likes these spreadsheet types of videos like I do, I'd recommend you watch this video next where I show you exactly how I manage over $2,000 worth of annual fees I have on my current cards. And once I do add some of these cards from my roadmap to my setup, I'll make an updated version of that video if y'all are interested. As always, Odin and I really appreciate y'all watching. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.